when you're out cycling and you like to film your rides, a 360 camera can often add an interesting perspective to it. Now, that said, unlike a lot of cycling creators on here, I don't have access to the first line of technology. So I recently got my hands on this new bike mount from Insta360. This thing, I think it came out a couple months ago, but at the time, the kind of mount that I needed was just not available. Anyway, what this is seems like it's kind of an upgrade to their previous version of the bike mount. It's got a new mount for the 360 camera, and like the other one, it has a mount for your bike computer, and as well as an underside mount that you could attach a light or a GoPro camera to for a different angle if you want. Now, like I said, I just got my hands on this, so I thought it might be fun to kind of unbox this together and see what's on the inside. I haven't opened it yet. Once it's out, we'll take a look at it. So we'll see how easy it is to put on the bike, and then maybe take it out and get some practice shots. All right, let's open this thing up and see what's inside. Okay, let's unbox this thing. It's just pretty much unscripted here, so we're just gonna open it up, see what's inside. So again, this is the bike computer mount. Independent handlebars, and it's from Insta360. All right, so here we go. All right, first things first, instructions. Great. Okay, here's the mount itself. It's made out of aluminum, which is nice. Underneath is the standard mount right here that you can attach a GoPro camera to, or any action camera really, and or a light if you'd like to. Now this right here is the mount for the Insta360 camera itself. Let me go get that. Now this has one of those dials right here to help you attach the camera in exactly the angle you want. You don't have to spin it on like you did with other mounts, so that's pretty nice because it holds it in real tight. So I really like this dial style mount here, so I'm going to take this out. All right, let's keep opening, see what else. Okay, right, here's a box. I think this might be it as far as what's inside the box goes. All right, so that's good. So we'll move this big piece out of the way for now and focus on this box here. That's it. All right, we have a couple of bags. What's in the bags? Okay, well, looks like we have a couple of different mount types. Let's see, according to the box, we have one for a Garmin computer, we have one for a Wahoo computer, one for a Brighton, and one for a Giant. So let's see, which is which? I don't know. But we have a screw here. We have two screws right here that I think we use to bolt down the mount of choice. So I have a Wahoo, so let me get my bike computer. Oh, this has got a B on it, so that must be the Brighton. This has a WH on it, so this must be the Wahoo. I don't know if you can see that or not. Be right back. Let's go get the camera or a light of some sort. All right, let's see if this works. I don't know, can you see the GM on this? It's right about there. It says GM. This one says WH, so that's the Wahoo one. And this one says B. Well, I don't have any of these. I just have the Wahoo version. So looks like you take the Wahoo bike mount or any of the bike mounts that you have, put it in the center, and then use the screws along with the supplied Allen wrench. We're just going to put it on right now. Okay. Okay, that's on pretty tight. Now here's my element, and I put it on here, twist it in place. All right, now I have a place for my bike computer, just like that. Now, of course, if I had a different kind of bike mount, I would use that instead of this one. But who knows what the future may hold, so I'm gonna hold on to these 3 pucks in case I use a different bike computer. Now my better half uses a Garmin, so I'll probably hang on to the Garmin, but the other 2 don't really use. But anyway, we'll save it anyhow. Okay, what's in this bag? More stuff. What is this? I don't know. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, this is obviously the thumb screw for the bottom part. These appear to be screws that you need to mount this thing to your bike itself. Looks like we have a couple of different lengths, probably just to make sure. And we have some associated bolts to kind of act as a filler, and an Allen wrench to do the work. Now, what's in this little bag here? I don't know what these are for. Well, the box says they're anti-slip rings. I don't know what we're going to use these for just yet, but I guess I'm going to have to read the instructions and see what's going on. So now that we've got this whole thing unboxed, and again, this is like a nice solid metal piece. Now that we have this thing unboxed, let's go put it on the bike. Okay, let's do a quick comparison of the 2 bike mounts that I have. Both are from Insta360. This is the original one I had. You can kind of see that the way it works with these little attachments here is it wraps around your handlebar and attaches with these tightening screws. So if, you know, pretend this is your handlebar, it goes in here, and then these things flip over and you tighten them down with the screws like this. Now, you can ride it this direction. You could also ride it like this. It really just kind of doesn't really matter. I think this is a little easier to access the screws this way, but on the end of it, let's get this out of the way for a second, is where you attach your camera. So attach this stick to the end of the screw here, and then from here, you tighten the camera down like this. Kind of tilt it on right here. Okay, so it extends out the front. Like this guy here, you have underneath you have a mount for a camera or a light, and just like this, here's a mount for a camera or a light, here's a mount for a camera or a light, and you can use it either way. I mean, there's no rules to say which end has to be up. But let's just say we're going to make this the end up here. There was no provided mounting puck for a bike computer, so I had to go out and buy one, and I also had to buy an adapter for a Wahoo bike computer. So that would attach just like this, and then you would use a thumb screw to tighten it down on the mount itself. Now you could also unscrew this piece. God bless America, this is tight. You'd unscrew this piece and change the angle. So if you want it straight out, it might look something like this. If you want it more tilted up, you might tilt it up like this, or if you want it further down, you can tilt it down like that. So there's some flexibility of the angle of the camera that you're using. Now on this one right here, you know, the bike computer mount goes right on top thanks to this provided puck, and the camera or light could go here. Now this doesn't provide any sort of on-the-fly tilting. The tilting right here will probably depend on the orientation of your screws on your handlebar, so we'll find out what mine are when I put this on. So this is generally probably going to be straight out. It might tilt up a little bit, but you're not going to get the flexibility of really being able to dial in the exact angle that you want. Now what I was actually thinking about doing was taking one of these 360 selfie sticks and screwing it on. And since the base right here is almost as wide as the stick itself, it's really stable. I mean, it's not going to bounce around. And you can extend this out a lot further, and there's just a lot more stability in this mount than there was in this mount. All right, now I want to put this on the bike next, and we'll see how stable it is. Okay, just to get a little lay of the land, here's my handlebars, and I've put a little piece of tape here with a mark to line up with the back of the neck here, just in case the handlebars slip when I take these screws out. Now there's 2 screws here on the top and 2 screws here on the bottom. And I think if I line this up on the top, it might be angled up a little too high for my taste. Yeah, that might be a little too high, so I'm going to try mounting them on the bottom. All right, we'll put those on the bottom and see what it looks like. Okay, let's take these bottom screws out. Looks like you stick the bolt through this first, and then this, and then you screw it in right here. See if I can just start it with my fingers. Start it. Okay, here we are. We're back at a little better angle on this. So I've got this lined up. I'm just trying to center this over these 2 posts here. And as I tighten it, I'll make sure I move my handlebars into the position that I want. For now, I just want to get it tight. Okay. Not completely tight, but it's pretty close. So I'll get this other one tightened down. Handlebars are where I want them to be position-wise. Okay, I think that's good. All right, now the bike computer goes right here. All right, that fits nice. Now this is where it's supposed to go in the base state. I really like this dial lock. Okay, this thing's not going to move. It's going to be in a great position. And the question is, will I like the angle that this camera takes? Will it be too close to me? Because normally I like to push this out further, but we'll take a look. Be right back. Okay, back. I'm going to undo the camera, and I'm going to put my selfie stick on there. Okay, that's a good angle. I'm happy with that. It's not completely flat, and there's no way for me to bend it so it's flat, but it's a decent angle for me. I can push it out further. Now, it is a little bouncy. I don't know if I can do anything. That's really a factor of the stick itself, not the mount. But if I did want it to stick out a little further than just having the camera here, I could put it out here. And that's not too terrible, because when I used the original selfie stick, this was the length of the mount, and it was usually pretty good, but it wouldn't have been terrible to push it out a little bit further. So here's where it would be if I used this on the end of this mount. I could push it out a little bit further, and it's still pretty sturdy. Okay, so there's hope here. So I'm going to take this out on the bike and try the mount on the selfie stick and right underneath here, and we'll judge and see what the camera angles look like. All right, it's a little brisk outside today, but I think I can make it around the block a few times to test out this 360 camera. So the first attempt is just putting the camera on the end of the mount. We'll extend it out later. Okay, here we are on the bike with the camera right up against the end of the mount, and the front view looks pretty decent. Nothing overly dramatic going on here. Just riding along the street, and let's bank around to the front of the bike, and you can see with the camera so close, all you see is the rider's midsection. And when you scroll back a little bit, now the rider's a little everything looks a little wonky to me. Handlebars, streets, everything. Okay, this time around, I put the selfie stick on the front of the bike computer mount, and the camera's a little further out this time, so we'll check out that angle. Okay, so the bike's now riding with the selfie stick attached to the mount, and we scroll back a little bit, you get more of the rider, and the street looks a little normal. I mean, doesn't have that rounded look to it. This is pretty decent. All right, this last test will be, I'm just going to extend this out a little ways, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, here it is. We've got the pretty decent length here, and we'll see how it holds up. Okay, here we go with the selfie stick extended out about 2 feet on the front of the bike, and you already can see the bounciness. Okay, that's really bouncy. I don't think that's very acceptable, so we probably won't be using this kind of selfie stick. Oh, look, looks like he's on a trampoline. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Not at all. All right, we'll bring the selfie stick back in a little bit. Still extended a little bit, but not a whole lot. Here we go. Okay, this is a lot better. You get a little more view, but it's not bouncing. Well, if you made it this far, thanks for hanging in there. If this is content that you like or you've gotten some value from it, consider subscribing, because this is the kind of stuff I like to do. But as far as this new Insta360 Bike Computer Mount goes, I would say it's worthy of a purchase. As a mount for your computer goes, it gives you a lot of options and it works really well. As far as putting your 360 camera on the end of it, I think you need to make sure that you have it at least a foot out in front of the bike mount, because if you have it attached straight on the mount, I think the angles you get of the rider and out front just don't cut it. If you want a bigger view of the rider and a more cinematic look out front, I think extending the camera out a little ways from the mount is the way to go. So on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.